Hi children, good morning one and all. I welcome you all to today's video class. Dear children, I know how curious you are all and how enthusiastic you are all to know the second part of the story, that is 3 questions. I am going to narrate and explain the second part of the story in today's video class. Get ready children for the class with your text. Yes, I am here to reveal the secret of the second part of the story. Before that, I would like to give a brief of the first part of the story. Then you can easily follow the second part without any difficulty. Okay children, get ready. In the first part of the story, you have learned the life of a noble king and the 3 intelligent questions raised by him. You have also learned his attempts to find answer for such questions. Many wise men gave their answers for the questions, but none of them convinced the king. The king then decided to meet a wise hermit to seek answer for the questions. He met the hermit and sought answers for his questions. The king took pity on the old hermit and extended his helping hand to help the hermit. He dug lands and made beds for the hermit. The king decided to return to the palace as the sun was about to set behind the clouds. It happened suddenly. What is it? That is dealt with in detail in the second part of the story. Okay children, when the king was about to return to his palace, suddenly it happened. All of you please keep the text with you and then just to follow the lines of the text. Second part. The king turned round and saw a bearded man running towards them. The hermit told the king, pointing out someone who is coming by running towards the hut. So the king turned around. Who was he? Who is coming by running towards them? His hands were pressed against his stomach from which blood was flowing. The man who was running kept pressed his hands. So the king looked all around and noticed a bird man running towards them. He was pressing his stomach with his hands in such a way. His stomach was bleeding. His stomach was bleeding. His hands were pressed. So, like this, he pressed his hands against the stomach just to stop the bleeding. So, he pressed against his stomach from which blood was flowing. And then when he reached the king, he fainted and fell to the ground. When he reached the king, the wounded man, fell down on the ground. The king could not understand who was he, who wounded him, how he sustained such a big wound on his stomach, and then now he fell down. So thousands of questions raised in the minds of the king. But what he did immediately as a human being, with the help of the king and the hermit, removed the man's clothing and found a large wound in his stomach. Immediately the king started to give first aid. To stop bleeding, the king has to stop bleeding, then only the man will survive, otherwise he will die. So to stop bleeding, what the king did with the help of the hermit, he removed the wounded man's clothing. To their shock, they found a deep wound on the man's stomach. So found a large wound in his stomach. The king washed and covered it with his handkerchief. Immediately what the king did, he washed the wound and then he covered the wound with his handkerchief just to stop the bleeding. But the blood would not stop flowing. The king redressed the wound until at last the bleeding stopped. So the king washed the wound and dressed it with his handkerchief to stop the bleeding. The bleeding did not stop. Then what the king did? He redressed again the wound now and stopped the bleeding. So when he redressed the wound, the bleeding stopped. Okay, so the total meaning of the first stanza of the second part, the king turned round and saw a man, a bearded man. He was running towards them, and his hands were pressed against his stomach. It was bleeding. His hands were pressed against his stomach, from which blood was flowing. And then when he reached the king, he fell down. He fainted and fell to the ground. The king was very much shocked to see that long bearded man. How he got such a wound? It was bleeding. Who made this wound? How he came there? Who was he? Such a long questions. The king immediately started to extend his helping hand. So he thought of doing first aid to stop the bleeding. So with the help of the hermit, what the king did? The king and the hermit removed the man's clothing and found a large wound in the stomach. Wow, such a big wound, such a large wound. The blood keeps flowing from it. The king immediately washed the wound and covered it with his handkerchief to stop bleeding. But the blood would not stop flowing. The king redressed the wound until at last the bleeding stopped. Okay, then come to the second stanza. The man felt better and asked for something to drink. So when he was dressed by the king, when he was given first aid, the bleeding was stopped temporarily. Now the man felt better and he asked the king, give me something to drink. I felt so thirst. The king brought fresh water and gave it to him. Immediately the king went and brought fresh water and he gave it to the wounded man to drink. By this time the sun had set and the air was cool. The king brought fresh water and gave it to him. By this time the sun had set almost and the air was cool. So the day was falling down. So it was getting dark. Slowly it starts to get dark. The king brought the wounded man into the hut with the help of the hermit and made him lie on the bed. Next what he did? So the king with the hermit's help carried the wounded man into the hut and laid him on the bed. So now the man felt better. He wanted to drink water. The king gave him some fresh water to drink. Then he called the hermit to help him. With the help of the hermit, what the king did? He brought the wounded man into the hut and he made him to lie on the bed. The king asked him, yes, you just lie down, take rest. The man closed his eyes and lay quiet. Immediately he fell into deep sleep because he sustained such a large wound and he felt so much of pain and he has lost so much of blood. He was very tired. So he closed his eyes and lay quiet. The king, tired by his walk and the work he had done, he too lay down on the floor and slept through the night. Then what the king did now? The king brought the wounded man into the hut with the help of the hermit and made him lie on the bed. The man closed his eyes and slept. The long walk and heavy physical work made the king too tired. Then he lay down on the floor and slept through the night peacefully. The king slept. So the king, tired by his walk, the long walk made him tired, and the work he dug the land and made bed for the hermit. All such heavy physical work made him tired. So he lay down on the floor and slept throughout the night peacefully. When he awoke, it was several minutes before he could remember where he was or who the strange bearded man lying on the bed was. So the king woke up early morning and with great difficulty he recalled the previous day incidents one by one. So it took some time for the king. When he awoke, the king awoke. It was several minutes. It took some time before he could remember where he was, how he had come there, what happened to him, who was that battered man who was sleeping on the bed. Then slowly he recovered, he recalled, he remembered the previous day incidents. So let me give the total sum up of the second stanza. Look at children, keep the text with you. Whenever I read the lines of the paragraph and words of the lines, when I give you word by word meaning, when I give you line by line meaning, when I give you the sum up of the meaning of the paragraph, you have to stick on to that. Very important. Okay children? Then only you can comprehend the lesson easily. So let me repeat the lines. Let me give you the meaning once again. The man now felt better after the first aid and asked for something to drink. So he just demanded something to drink. The king brought fresh water and gave it to him. So by this time the sun had set. It was almost starts to getting dark, and the cool air was blowing. So the king decided to bring that wounded man into the hut. So the king, with the hermit's help, carried the wounded man into the hut and laid him on the bed. Then what happened? The man closed his eyes and lay quiet. He just started to sleep peacefully because he sustained severe injury, wound, and he has to bear much pain, and he has lost good amount of blood. Therefore he became very tired and slept. What happened to the king? The king too felt tired because a long walk he had made, and he had done good physical work for to help the hermit. So the king, tired by walk and the work he had done, so the long walk and heavy physical work made the king tired. He too lay down on the floor and slept through the night. When he awoke next day morning, it was several minutes before he could remember where he was, or who the strange bearded man lying on the bed. Now turn to the page number 12, children, from the top, the last line of the second stanza. Okay, fine. See, let me show you the chart what I have brought here. See, it is very nice chart. You can see an act of hospitality, how the king helped the wounded man. When he wants something to drink, the king gave him fresh water to drink. So after taking that fresh water, the wounded man just lay down on the bed and slept peacefully. So it shows the king's hospitality and the mercy activity, the act of mercy. Okay, fine. Now, page number 12, from the top, page number 12, from the top, first paragraph, from the top. Forgive me, said the battered man, in a weak voice, when he saw that the king was awake. So, the king woke up early morning and recalled the previous day incidents one by one. After that, the wounded man also wake up from his bed. When he saw the king, what he told, the strange bearded man got up from his bed. The bearded man pleaded the king, "Oh, forgive me, king, forgive me," said the bearded man. How he requested the king to forgive him? In a weak voice, in a very weak tone, he requested the king to forgive him. When he saw that the king was awake. So when he saw that the king was awake, he requested the king to forgive me. Why the wounded man asked the king to forgive him? Why he requested the king to apologize him? What might be the reason? The king in turn, in a surprised and suspicious voice, expressed himself that he did not know him And he also asked him why he wanted the king to forgive him. It's quite common, because the king hadn't met that wounded man anywhere before. Now when the wounded man, the king only helped the wounded man, but now the wounded man asked the king to forgive him. So it was a great surprise to the king. And I do not know you, next paragraph, I do not know you and I have nothing to forgive you for, said the king. Now the king asked, oh man, I have never seen you before, and more than that, why do you want me to forgive you? What you did? What mistake you have done? Nothing. And I do not know who are you, from where you have come. Then why you asked me to forgive you? It's a great surprise, and I don't know. The king asked the man. Said the king, next paragraph, you do not know me, but I know you. See, immediately the wounded man revealed his identity. He just started to speak. He just started to explain who was he, from where he came, why he asked the king to forgive him. He started to explain everything one by one. Therefore the king can understand him well. He told the king that he knew him well, though the king did not know him. The wounded man told, "O king, yes, I agree. You do not know me. You do not know me. But I know you. Who are you? You are the king. I know that. I am that enemy of yours who swore revenge on you." He opened his heart. He spoke the words of truth. "O king, actually I am your enemy. Long time back, I promised to take revenge of you. I made a conspiracy to kill you. I decided to kill you. I wanted to take revenge of you." For what? Why the wounded man wanted to take the revenge of the king? He was the one who saved the life of the wounded man. Now the wounded man started to explain everything one by one. "I am that enemy of yours," he openly told. "O king, actually I am your enemy. Who swore, he took promise to revenge on you. Actually I myself promised to take revenge on you. And because you put my brother to death and chased my property." Now he revealed the reason why he had decided to kill the king. There might be some valid reason for such things. Now he explained, "Once you put my brother to death, my brother was killed by you, and you have chased all my property. That's the reason that I have decided to kill you." Okay, how he planned to kill the king, he explained that also. So with the surprised eyes, the king just noticed. The king just started to listen to his words keenly. He told the words, he spoke the words of truth. He explained everything briefly and plainly to the king. "O king, you did not know me, but I know you well. Once I was your enemy. My brother was killed by you. You put death to my brother, and I have chased my property. Therefore I have decided, I promised to kill you. I am waiting for the time. So when I have time, I have planned to kill you." He himself has decided such things. "I knew," more than that, he also continued, next line, "I knew you had gone alone to see that hermit." So when the king had come to the forest wood to see the hermit in his hut, the man who wanted to take revenge of the king knew that. Now he explained, "Yes, king, I knew that you alone had gone to meet the hermit." So what happened? What plan that wounded man had in his mind? What conspiracy he had made? Yeah. "And I made up my mind to kill you on your way home. Anyhow, after meeting the hermit, you will be back and you will move towards the palace alone. At that time I have planned to kill you." That was a planning. That was a plan of that wounded man. He explained, he revealed all his plans. And I made up my mind to kill you on your way home. When you will be back from the hermit's hut, you will be coming all alone and you will be making move. You will be returning to the palace all alone. At that time I have planned to kill you. But unfortunately, the day passed and you did not return. So the wounded man now told the king that he was waiting for him for the time to take revenge of the king. The strange man got a chance to revenge the king. He learned also that on the fateful day, that day can rightly be called a fateful day, the king had come to meet the hermit in the wood, and he would be back alone, using the chance, grabbing the chance. The strange man planned to kill the king. Then he was hiding behind some bush, waiting for the return of the king. But the king did not come back till evening. The day passed. Night slowly starts to fall. See, and I made up my mind to kill you, but the day passed and you did not return. So the wounded man was waiting for the king. He hid himself behind some bush. He was waiting for the arrival of the king to kill him. But unfortunately, the king did not come back till evening. The day passed. Night slowly starts to fall. So what happened? So I left my hiding place. The wounded man just came out from the hiding place. And I came upon your bodyguard. When he just came out from the hiding place, it was noticed by the bodyguard who was waiting for the arrival of the king. Bodyguard knew that wounded man well. Wow, that fellow, he immediately guessed, the bodyguard immediately guessed that the man was waiting to kill my king. How could I allow such things to happen? No. So I left my hiding place and I came upon your bodyguard, who recognized me. The bodyguard recognized him and wounded me. The bodyguard immediately did not allow such things happen. He did not allow the man to kill his king. Therefore, he wounded the man. That happened. He escaped immediately from him, but I should have died if you had not dressed my wounds. So he escaped without wounds from the bodyguard of the king, and he was running towards the hut of the hermit with that wound. Now he explained. So with that wound he escaped from the bodyguard and ran towards the hut of the hermit. Now he is told, he also expressed his gratitude to the king. He should have died if the king had not dressed his wounds. Now he explained. He explained his gratitude. Oh my king, actually I have planned to kill you. I was hiding somewhere for your arrival, to kill you in this spot. But fortunately, it was noticed and I was wounded by your bodyguard. When I came here, what happened? I wished to see, I should have died. With that great wounds, I should have died if you had not dressed my wounds. If you had not done such a great help, if you had not dressed my wounds, I should have died. Fortunately, you saved me. The wounded man expressed his gratitude. I wished to kill you. And you have saved my life. Now the wounded man expressed his gratitude. Oh my king, actually I thought of killing you. What a fool I am. I wanted to take revenge. I behaved brutally as a man of brutal ideas. I behaved just like an animal. They don't have any mercy. So I too behaved just like an animal. I wished to kill you, king, but you have saved my life. Now if I live, I will serve you as your most faithful servant and will order my sons to do the same. Forgive me. Now he requested the king, O king, forgive me. Now I am living because you give me back my life. You saved me from the death. Such a great death of wound. For that I have to be grateful to you throughout my life. I want to help you. If I live, I will serve you as your most faithful servant. I want to be a faithful servant, and I want to extend my service to you throughout my life. Not only me, I would ask my sons also to help you. I would ask my sons also to do the same. My king, forgive me. He pleaded, he requested the forgiveness of the king. So he apologized that he wished to kill the king, but he had saved his life. Now he suggested that he would serve the king as his most faithful servant, and he would ask his sons also to do the same as a token of gratitude, because his life has been spared by the king. So he asked him to forgive him. Now what happened? The king was very happy. The king was very happy to have made peace with his enemy so easily. Really, it was a happy moment. The king was so happy to have made peace with his enemy so easily and to have won him over as his friend. Now it happened. So the king was so happy because he had made a good peace with his worst enemy, and his worst enemy now becomes his best friend. So both happened because of his act of gratitude and his noble quality, hospitality. Okay, yeah. And what again? And to have won over as a friend, he not only forgave him, now the king told, yes, everything, what you have planned to do, everything was forgiven here. And he also told, but said he would send his servants and his own doctor to look after him. Don't worry, my dear, I will send my faithful servants to help you, because you have sustained such a great wounds, till it get healed, till it get cured, till you get cured from your illness. I will send my servants to help you. I will send my doctors also to help you. The king told openly. He, on his part, he expressed all these things. It's a token of love and gratitude towards a fellow being. In those days, the kings were known for such a hospitality, were known for such noble quality. And he promised to give back the man his property. Apart, beyond, besides and beyond such things, the king also gave an assurance, don't worry, my dear, I give you back the man his property. I will give you back your property. Don't worry. So the king was so happy to have made peace with his enemy and to have won him over as his friend. He forgave him. The king also came forward. What a good man, what a good noble attitude of the king. His servants and his doctor to look after him. He also promised him to give back the man his property. He told, don't worry, I will give you the property what I chased from you. So leaving the wounded man, the king went out of the hut and looked around for the hermit. Now he became so happy. His mind is filled with the happiness, happy moment. He made a peace with his worst enemy and he became his best friend. And both of them were ready to help each other. He also expressed his act of gratitude, the wounded man, and the king also promised the wounded man to help him in future. Now leaving the wounded man, the king just went out to see the hermit because he has to go back to his palace. And he was looking around for the hermit. What was doing he? Before going away, he wished once more to get answers to his questions. Already when he came there, the previous day, he asked the hermit to give answer for his 3 questions. He also told the hermit what are all those questions, but the hermit immediately did not give him the answer. The king helped him, but now he has to leave from the hut. Therefore he just went up to him, and final request he had made, he wished once more to get answer to his questions. So final request he had made to the hermit to give him the answer for his questions. The hermit was on his knees, sowing seeds in the bed that had been dug the day before. The dug were made, and the bed were made. The land was dug, and the bed had been made by the king the previous day night. So the hermit was on his knees like this, and he was sowing the seeds in the bed. Then it will become tender plants, then it will become big plants, then it will give good shadow as well as the fruits and flowers. So you have to plant, whenever you have time, you have to plant the seeds. Better you can do, children, one thing. On each and every birthday, you will, when you are celebrating your birthday, when you share your happiness with your friends, when you give sweets to your teachers, to the principal, to your parents, to your friends, other time you can do. On every birthday, you can sow one sapling or one seed. See, suppose you have celebrated, just for example, you have celebrated 10 to 15 birthdays. What happened? 15 trees you have grown. You have made 15 trees to grow in the world. Isn't it? So greatest things. So the hermit, a wise man, he was on his knees sowing seeds in the bed. The beds were made. They had been dug the day before. The king went up to the hermit and said, for the last time, I beg you to answer my questions, wise man. Now the king requested the hermit to give him the answer. The last wish. Last time I beg you, Baran, I beg you to answer my questions. Wise man, the king asked him. What answer he gave, do you know? Turn to the next page, page number 13, from the top, first paragraph. You have already been answered, said the hermit. Wow. Immediately the hermit answered, O king, you have been answered. You got the answer for all your questions. That was the answer given by the hermit. It was a great surprise and shock to the king. Still bending down to the ground, he didn't turn up to see or look at the face of the king. Still bending down, sowing the seeds in the bed, the hermit answered, Oh king, already you have been answered. What does it mean? You got the answer. It was really a surprise to the king. And looking up at the king, as he stood before him, now he looked up and looked at the face of the king. Oh, you have been answered. You got the answer. As the king requested finally the hermit to answer his questions, the hermit told him that he had been answered already. The king was very much surprised to know that. How have I been answered? What do you mean? Now the king asked him, Oh, wise man, you are told that I have been answered, but I couldn't understand. When you have answered, how can I be answered? No, I have a surprise. How have I been answered? When have I been answered? What do you mean? When the king asked the wise man all these questions, the hermits explained him. Do you not see? Do you not see? Don't you know the king? Replied the hermit, if you had not pitied my weakness yesterday, and had not dug these beds for me. So now the wise man starts to speak plainly. Now the king listened to him very carefully. O king, yesterday you came to my hut. You took pity on him. But if you did not take pity on me, if you had not pitied, I am very weak, I am an old man, I was doing much great and strenuous physical work. When I was digging the land, you took pity on me. But if you have failed to take pity on me yesterday and had not dug these bed, immediately you came forward to help me. You helped me, and you had dug and made all these beds for me. If all these things have not done by you, what would be the result? You would have gone away. If you had not pitied on me, if you had not come forward to help me, if you had failed to make these beds, or if you have failed to dug the earth, had not dug these beds for me, what would have happened? You would have gone out. Then that man would have attacked you, and you would have wished you had stayed with me. What a good answer. How nicely the wise man explained the things happened. Then the man, if you had not done all these things, you would have gone out, no doubt. Then the man who was waiting there to kill you would have killed you, would have attacked you. And more than that, you would have wished to stay back here with me in the night. That's also important. You would have wished you had stayed with me. So the king was very much happy. So the king took pity on the weakness of the hermit and decided to help him. If it had not happened, what would be the result? He would have been killed. Yeah. So the most important time was when he was digging the beds. Now the hermit explained. So the most important time was when you were digging the beds. When you were digging the beds, you have saved yourself. That is the fate. Without doing such things, without helping me, if you had just gone out, you might have been killed by that, or might have been attacked by that man. So the most important time in your life was the time when you were digging the land for me, when you were making the beds for me. And who was the most, so the answer for the first question, which is the proper time to do certain things, for the answer for the first question, the suggestion which was given by the wise man is the time when you were digging the land. When actually you were digging the beds, when you were making the beds, was the best time, the right time for you. Then the second question, who was the right man to hear? And I was the most important man. Now the hermit told, and I was the most important man, because for the sake of helping me only, you stayed back. For the sake of helping me only, you just decided to stay back in the night here and do me the good. And to do me good was your most important business. Again the hermit told, yes. Then the third question, which is the right job to do? Which is the right thing to do? The answer for the third question is that, what is the answer for the third question? To me, good was your most important business. What a good answer. See, the answer for the three questions. First question, right time. Which was the right time? When the king was digging the land. When the king was digging the bed, making the bed or digging the land. See, digging the bed. This is the right time. Okay, could you follow me, children? Very nice. Second, what is the answer for the second question? The most important man you have to hear. The hermit important. The hermit was the important man. Other than hermit, who had been the important person to the king? Now, most important man. Who was the most important man? Who was the most important man? The hermit. The hermit was the important man. So the hermit explained, he was important man to the king. So answer for the second question. Yeah. What is the answer for the third question? The right thing to do. The right thing to do. To help him. To help him. To help him. And I was the most important man, and to me good. To do good to the hermit was your most important business. What a nice answer the hermit explained. So the hermit gave to the right answer to the king, to his surprise. Afterwards, when the man ran to us, the most important time was when you were caring for him. Now again he explained. See, I will write the answer on the board, then you can easily understand, children. Now the hermit started to explain the king the right time. The first question, the answer for the first question was the king was decking the bed. When the king was decking the bed, that was the right time. And this answer for the second question, who was the most important man to attend to? The hermit answered that the hermit was the most important man at the time because the king decided to stay back with him. So he was the most important man at that situation. And then the rightest thing, the best thing to do in the world is to help the hermit. So these were all the answers. Important suggestions were given by the hermit to the king. He also went on explaining. The hermit went on explaining the things. Let me read and explain the things. See the stanza. Page number 13, again in the middle, the big stanza. And I was the most important man, and to me good was your most important business. Have you got the line, children? Very nice. Afterwards, when the man ran to us, the most important time was when you were caring for him. Answer for the first question. The most important time. The most important time was the time when you were helping the wounded man. The hermit answered, when you were caring for him. When you were caring for the wounded man. When you were caring for the wounded man, that was the right time. Because if you had not dressed his wounds, he would have died without having made peace with you. He also explained the reason for that. As you came forward, as you had made up your mind to help the wounded man, you gave first aid, you dressed that wounded man, and you stopped bleeding, so you saved the life of the wounded man. Otherwise, what happened? When you were caring for him, because if you had not dressed his wounds, he would have died without having made peace with you. How can you then make peace with him, with your friend? So he was the most important man. The answer for the second one, who was the most important man? The wounded man. Who was the most important man? Who was the most important man? The wounded man. Because with him only the king had made peace. So the worst enemy became the best friend of the king. So the wounded man was the most important man in the world. So he was the most important, and what you did for him was the most important business. What a good answer. Third answer. The most important job to do. The most important thing to do. For this question also, the answer was given by the hermit. So the help, what you have done, what you did for him, what you did. What you did for him is the most important time, the most important business for you. After giving very clear answer to all the three questions of the king. Now, see, before to give a concluding remark of this lesson, let me show you once again all the charts what I have brought here. See, can you see this picture? Here, the king came forward to help the hermit, and he got the spade from the hands of the hermit, and he had decided to make bed. Okay, fine. Then, see, the wounded man was nursed by the king. He gave first aid to the wounded man. It shows his hospitality. So out of his mercy in his heart, he came forward to help that wounded man. He saved the life of the wounded man. It's an act of divine quality. Yeah. Then I brought some more pictures also here. See, a tender approach to help. A tender approach. So when the king came to the hurt of the hermit, he just came forward to help the hermit. So, see, a tender approach to help. You too have to develop such an attitude, children. Whenever you have a chance to help someone, whenever someone needs your help, don't hesitate to come forward to help them. Immediately you have to go to their call and you have to help them. God will bless such children. Okay, thank you. And then some other pictures. See, seeking wisdom. When the king was very much annoyed to know the answer for his questions, many wise men approached the king and they gave them answer to the questions, but the king was not convinced by any of the answers given by the wise people. Okay, fine. And then the answers for the first question, the right time to do. See, the king was asked to make his own timetable for that, and he has to frame his own timetable. The timetable should be inclusive of the days, dates, months, years and weeks. Then he has to prepare his own timetable and he has to act according to that. That was a suggestion given by some people for the first questions. So this picture shows you all such things clearly. Okay. And then for the second answers, they have suggested, see, the king has to, the most important person to whom the king has to believe, means first to the doctors, he has to believe the words of the doctors, and then see the soldiers, because they have more responsibility to defend the country from the foreign invasion, attack of the foreign. Then the priest, they are the messengers to the God. So they never fail in their words, they never fail to do their actions, the act of merciness. Okay, fine. Then the answer for the third question, here is some pictures. The right things to do to protect their country from the foreign invasion, to protect their country, to protect their people is the most important task, the deed of the king. And then he has to do something for to improve the science and the attitude of the science. He has to keep his country pollution free, yeah. And then third, he has to encourage the people to go for divine worships. Okay, so all these pictures I have shown you. Then now come to the concluding remarks. Remember the last paragraph, just a paragraph before to the last one. Remember then there is only one time that is important, and that time is now. So the hermit started to give him the good explanation. He also asked the king to remember which is the best time. When can we start our work? When can we start our work? Only today, now. Present is the best time. Present is the best. It is the most important time because it's the only time we have any power to act. It is only in our hands. Present is the best as compared to the past and future. Past has already gone away. It was over. You can't get back the past time. The time once lost is lost forever. So the present is in your hand, at your hand. It's the only time we have any power to act. So the hermit suggested to be active at present. To be active at present. The most necessary person is the person you are with a particular moment. At the particular moment, you are with whom? The he or she. That is the most important person. Now, when you are attending the online class, the most important person to you is your teacher. When you are in the class, the most important person to you is your teacher. When you are at home with your parents, the most important person to you are your parents. Okay, children? Very fine. So, for no one knows what will happen in the future. You can't just predict the future. Future is full of uncertain. And whether we will meet anyone else, whom we will meet in the future, you cannot decide. What will happen in the future, no one can decide. The most important business is to do that person good. So whenever you are at the present moment with whom you are, he is the most important person, and to do something, most important business is doing something good to that person, because we were sent to this world for that purpose alone. We were sent to this world. God has sent all of us to help other fellow beings who are living with us. So you should always be ready. Okay, so from this lesson, what you have learnt, the most important time is present. Don't worry about the past. Don't worry about the things that happen in the past, because past is past always. So just try to forget all those things. Don't think of the past, and don't brood over the future. Don't expect so many things. You may expect that these things may happen in the future. Don't expect. Future is full of uncertain. You may have hope, that is different. You may have confidence of happening of certain things in the future, well and good. But general future is uncertain. So be active at present. Don't waste present time. Be active to the maximum. Try to make use of each and every second given to you by the God. Present time is in your hand. Present time is in your hand. And then the most important person, as I told you already, the person with whom you are living in the world, they are all the most important persons. In the school with your friends, in the school with your teachers, in the school with your principal, at home with your parents, with your sisters, with your kith and kin, they are all the most important persons, because they are all living with you at present, in the present scenario. They are all living with you. So you have to live for them. And the most important task in the world is to help them. The most important task in the world is to help them. You should always be ready to help them. Whenever you have a chance to help your friend, whenever you have a chance, even if you have a chance to help some unknown person, don't hesitate. Go fast. Immediately go and help them. That's the most important thing. So this is the answer for all the three questions, children. I hope all of you have understand this lesson well, because Leo Tolstoy's this lesson is most important one, because in our day-to-day life, thousands of questions we keep asking within us. We are looking out answer for all such questions, but always the answer is available in the world. No lock is made without the key. Yeah. So every answer is available for almost all the questions. No questions remains without any answer. But you have to search. You have to find out. And keep your mind always active, children. I have given you a brief and detailed summary of the total lesson, part 1 and part 2. And more than that, I have sent you already the worksheet for this first and second part also, children. There you have almost 8 questions, very simple questions only. You have to read the lessons once again and just try to recollect the things which has been taught to you by your teacher in the video class. With the help of all such things, you can easily answer the questions, okay? And take care of you. Be safe at home. Thank you, children. Have a nice day.